Good afternoon, students. You're welcome once again to the third lecture in the series of CRP 303 Principles of Crop Protection lectures. In the last lecture, we talked extensively on insect pests and cereals, and this topic promises to be interesting because we are going to be looking closely and talking extensively on the insect pest of legumes. We are going to be talking about the damages caused by these insects to these crops and how they can be controlled, both non-chemically and chemically. This topic promises to be interesting and I want you to stay tuned and enjoy yourself. Thank you very much and have a nice time. Bye. Yes, like I said in the slide before, this topic promises to be an interesting one and I still remain your facilitator. Alawode today, my email has not changed. Now we'll be talking about the intertext of legumes. In the previous lecture facilitation, we spoke extensively on intertext of cereals. They are on and on and on, but I just selected a few. So also in this topic, because of our time constraint, we'll be talking about a few of the insect pests also of legumes. And the first insect pest we'll be talking about here is the pod borer. Pod borer is also known as Maruca pestulizes. Okay, now this pod borer is a larvae and is a regular pest of cowpeas. It is a larvae, that is, it is not a fully formed um, insect. It's a stage, a growth stage of the insect. This is exactly what it looks like in this picture. It is not the adult of this particular pod borer. So these larvae are very injurious and they damage this crop cowpea very much. And what they do is that they damage both the flowers and the pod wherever cowpea is grown. They go for the flower and they go for the pod, and you know that anytime the flower of a plant is disturbed, it cannot produce any pod. Eventually this flower even manages to get to the pod stage. This pod borer will go and destroy it. So uncontrolled infestation can reduce yield by 70%. That's a very high number. So this pod this pod borer is a serious pest and must be controlled when it is found on the cowpea field. The host is beans and cowpea, and alternative hosts in case we don't see beans and cowpea, we may also go for groundnut, castor, tobacco, rice, and hibiscus species. So these are the alternative hosts for this pod borer pest. So now we want to talk more about this. This pod borer, which is the Marucas pestulizes, lays eggs on the flowers and buds of young leaves. Okay, so what they do is that they lay eggs. So when you now see the flower of and bud of this plant and you turn them over, you see the eggs very small, very tiny, and the young larvae which hatches from the eggs fall onto the flowers and they start feeding the flowers. They start feeding on the flowers. And when they feed on the flowers get it at the point of attachment to the plant and it now drops. So they also feed on the young stems of the plant, the terminal shoots, the pendulum all these are also damaged in the process. So how do you know that this larvae is present? Because like I said, the eggs are so tiny, sometimes you will not even see them. So how do you know the presence of this larvae? And the signs you see include webbing of flowers. You see the flowers in web-like shape. Then leaves and pods, that's the webbing of the flowers, the leaves and the pods, they are not stretched out, they are webbed. And the presence of fat on the shoot leaves and pods. Fat is the excreta of these larvae. So once you go to the field and you see this excreta on the leaves or the flowers of the plant, you know that there is an infestation of this particular pod borer larvae. So they feed on the flowers and they bore into the green holes of the bean plant or the cowpea to feed on the developing seeds. Can you imagine that? So they feed on flowers. When they are done with that, they now go for the pot and they start to feed on it. And they are usually active at night. So how do you now control this menace of pests? Non-chemically, what you can do is that you plant healthy varieties with long pod peduncles. Okay, that peduncle is the part of the plant that attaches itself to the plant, the leaves. So when you have cowpea with long peduncles and copper pods, then these larvae will not be able to fall into the pods because the pods are tough and the long peduncles will not let them reach the pods. So these are things that you should take note of, and monocropping should also be avoided. When you keep planting this cowpea on a piece of land for a long time, over and over and over, what you get, because that is one of the disadvantages of monocropping, the pests are so used to the place they don't need you. So what you get is an attack, like a serious pest attack. Now the chemical way of controlling this pest, this menace, is by using dimetone combined with cypermethrin. And how do you, when do you use this? When you see that 60% of the flowers are damaged, when you see that the plants are damaged to this effect, then you now use this chemical combination for the control. Another pest we'll be talking about here is the groundnut aphid, and the name of this pest is the aphid passivora. Aphid passivora. And these are aphids, like you can see in this picture here. They're tiny insects, and these aphids primarily attack the seedlings and feed on the surface leaves. So that's what they attack, seedlings and undersurface leaves. They also suck the sap of the plant by gathering in large numbers. See them on this stalk. Can you imagine how much they can be on a particular plant? And they suck the sap. And once they suck the sap of the plant, that plant begins to wither or begins to wilt. And these pests are normally found even in the hot weather. You see them because that is when their production is high. Okay, that's when they can produce in the hot weather. So they suck the sap of the plant and the plant begins to build. And also when they do that, the leaves and the shoots of the plant become distorted. That's the groundnut aphid. The primary host is the groundnut and the soft sap of the plant, leaving the shoots and the leaves distorted. Also, you notice this sticky honeydew, which is produced by the plant when this infestation occurs, and this sticky honeydew encourages the growth of molds. Okay, when the soft sap is leave this recipe, and this recipe will encourage mold production, And because of this, plants infected with roasted virus are stunted, yellow or dark green mostly on the leaves. They have stunted yellow or dark green mostly on the leaves. So this is what the insect looks like in this picture here. That is the groundnut aphid. Still talking about the groundnut aphids, the adults can be winged or wingless, and the aphids are shiny, blackish, grayish, green or brown, like we saw in the other picture. That one is kind of blackish, grayish, and these aphids produce either sexually or asexually. So how is it controlled non-chemically? You plant early. You plant early and close spacing of groundnut. This can help the infestation. When you grow early, because this cases produced in the late season, in the dry season. So what you do is that to overcome this problem, not chemically, if you don't want to use chemicals, then you have to grow your crops early and close the spacing. Don't let the spacing between rows be too much. You have to close it to help prevent infestation. And the chemical control of this aphid is by using specific insecticides such as chemical, which is prepared to kill only aphids, okay, to kill only aphids and allow other natural enemies to survive, to thrive. And other insecticides that can be used also are the lambda, cyclotrin, and the monoprotox. These are chemicals that can be used to control groundnut aphids. Now another pest of cowpeas is the termites, and termites build their nests around the roots of plants, feeding on roots, and they also attack the foliage, which is the leaves of the plant. Okay, this is what termites look like in this picture over here. And what they do is that they build their nest. If you have been to the farm before, you must have seen some of these nests that these termites build. Okay, they build their nest around the roots of the plant, and once they do that, they destroy that plant totally. So they just keep feeding on the roots. They keep feeding on the roots, and when they are done with that, they attack the foliage of the plant. So they attack plants of any age, plants of any age, and are usually established plants. Okay, so infestation intensifies at maturity. As the plant matures, so the infestation increases. So it doesn't go with time. It's always there to destroy the plant. So and attacks are more common where plants are under water stress. So you believe that when the plants are under water stress, these insects should not be able to grow. But these termites are so stubborn, and that is when they will even attack the plant the more. When plant does not have water, that is when they attack the plant the more. Also, damage caused by termites by penetrating the roots, the stem, and pegs, and by destroying plant tissue. When they penetrate, then they eat through the roots, and then they destroy the plant tissue and prevent transportation of water up to the plant. Now when the root is destroyed, the root is the medium for transportation of water and minerals and nutrients to the soil. Once that is destroyed and cut off, the plant, the soil, the plant just collapses and it is just dead. So it causes the plant to die. They also clarify the pods, the healthy pods, and make them to be able to crack easily when harvested. And they also allow for entrance of a growth of fungus, Aspergillus fungus, which is a toxic fungus and an alpha toxic. So what they do is that is clarify the pods and make them to break. So when they are being harvested, they break, and the entrance also of fungus if the gate is open for fungus to come in. So these termites cause plants to collapse, like I said, when they chew the root, they chew the heart of the plant gets weak and collapses. So how do you control this kind of menace that is called termites? You can control them chemically by using kerosene as a byproduct of petroleum. Kerosene can be poured around the base of the plant, around the root area, to destroy the nest, to scatter them, destroy the little kerosene. You see them eating out, running away, dancing around, you destroy them. And also, a mulch of neem-based effective in preventing damage when they are not inside the field. Yeah. So you can use neem paste from the plant neem as a grafter in car, you use it to control the damage done by termites. Also, if you want to control it non-chemically, what you do is to crop and you harvest early. When you have mature crops on the field for too long, then this termites go and attack them. So the way that you can save this crop is by harvesting early, and you also choose a seed from a uniform variety so that all the seeds will get ripe at the same time. When they are ready for harvesting at the same time, you harvest them. Don't leave any crop on the field, or else this termite will just come and finish it. And also repeated mechanical cultivation using your plows, using your go plow, your tractors, you use it to turn the soil from time to time. That one will just destroy the nest of these termites. Also, rotation with other crops will prevent termite population buildup. So that is about the termites. Moving on, we have another pest which is called the pigeon pea blister beetle. The pigeon pea blister beetle. That's the Mylabaris Mylabaris species. The Mylabaris species. That's the pigeon pea blister beetle. And this occurs wherever pigeon pea is grown in Nigeria. This is what it looks like. Is what it looks like. Okay, the adult beetles feed on the flowers, like you can see this one on the flower of this PVP plant, and greatly reduce the number of pods that are set. Okay, when the flower is attacked, like I said, the flower is the one that will become the pod. So when the flower is destroyed, then no pod can be formed. So the eggs are usually laid in the soil, and the larvae, funny enough, the stage of this insect is the adult stage that is dangerous, that is disastrous. Okay, the larvae is generally beneficial because they feed on other insects in the soil. Can you imagine that? So the larvae is actually good, but once they start to mature and get to the adult stage, they will become a menace on the field of legumes. So how is it controlled? The non-chemical method of control is that you plant PGP in small plots, okay? And um, the flowering stage is when the adult activity is most. So what you do is that you try and plant in such a way that the you won't plant when this beetle is about to reach their adult stage. By then you must have harvested. So it's talking about early planting. And also you can control these insects by picking them manually. Okay, you pick when you see them, you pick them and use your anti-spot spray, or you use this insect net to catch them because they are usually slow moving, they don't move fast. So you can catch them by hand and just make sure that you protect your skin when you're doing this. And the chemical control of this insect is by using insecticides, which are synthetic in nature, synthetic parasitoids, and this works on the beetles reasonably well. They help to control the beetle population. Now another um, insect pest of concern is the pod-sucking bug, the Clavigralla species. The pod-sucking bugs. This is what they look like in this picture. You can see them as the pod-sucking bugs, and it is most important. It is the most important pod-sucking bug on pigeon pea in Nigeria. It is the most important pod-sucking bug on pigeon pea in Nigeria. Other host plants include the coffee and other pulses. So where they don't see pigeon peas and they go for coffee and other pulses. So the one that is the stage that is um, dangerous for the plant is the adult and the new stage because they suck the seeds through the pod wall. And when they do so, the seeds become shriveled and has dark patches on them, so they don't germinate. And human beings cannot eat such a thing. When you see black seeds and shriveled, it is not palatable to the eye, it cannot be consumed, and they do not germinate, so it is lost all the way. The adults are about 10 millimeters in size and they are brown and gray. They are hairy and have piercing and sucking mouthparts. How do they control them chemically? Since this insect breeds on many weed posts or which lays eggs, so the weed management that you use for your pigeon pea is essential for its control. The weed management that you use is essential for its control, and a solution of 9% neem seed or kernel extract, okay, increases insect survival and gives effective control. So these are the things that send them away from the field when you use a solution of 9% neem seed or kernel extract. It reduces the population and sends them off. And if you don't want to go the non-chemical way, you can use your chemicals and you use them when the economic threshold is 2 insects per 10 plants. You can see when you get to the field and you see the first insect, you see the second insect, don't just wait, just go and spray. And you can apply your cypermethrin and dimethanoate on your cowpea or pigeon pea plot because it is effective. Another pest we'll be looking at the pod borer, the pod borers, the Helicobacter species, Helicobacter, Helicobacter species, and these are insects that destroy buds, flowers, and pods. It destroys the buds of the plant, flower of the plant, and pods of the plant. If flowers and pods are not available, then they feed on the leaves, the leaflets, the leaves, and the base of the leaves. You can see how destructive they are. And these leaves are necessary for photosynthesis. So when the leaves are no more there, and the plant cannot trap sunlight from the um, sun and it cannot be useful for its growth. On the pods, you can see conspicuous holes that are made at the entry of the larvae. You can see the larvae here, this is the life cycle. You can see the egg, it goes into this, on and on like that till you get these very large larvae over here. And usually when it develops, um, it develops on partly matured seeds, and they just completely destroy the seed. And at times this a portion of the seed and tester remains, but they just feed on the endosperm of the seed. How do you control them? Natural enemies are the ones that control them, not chemically. You use natural enemies because they are larvae, so you just pick them up and eat them. And some pigeon pea genotypes have considerable tolerance to 80% hold. So it's important that you use plant-resistant varieties as a method of avoiding damage. And to control them chemically, you can use several insecticides including endosulfan and also the synthetic insecticides give food control, and you apply them as soon as the eggs hatch. You have to watch them closely and apply as soon as the eggs hatch. Haven't spoken about that. We have looked at some pests of the legumes, and I'm very sure you are now conversant with them, so you can be able to see what the pests are, you can see what they look like, and you'll be able to talk about damages that these pests cause and how to control them, both the non-chemical way and chemical way. This is important for you to know. However, I have some class activities for you, and what I have to say is I want you to list 5 pests of legumes, what their damages are, and how they can be controlled. And let's give you 10 seconds for that. So I want to thank you very much for listening to this lecture, and I hope that by next week we'll be able to treat something more interesting than this lecture. Thank you for listening, and God bless.